Hey folks, it's Texas Food Dude, and tonight I'm going to show you how to make some awesome on the grill barbecued chicken, not smoked, but barbecued, and a really awesome Texas Food Dude slaw. It's really, really good. I've got some chicken legs, and I've also got some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And so right now I'm going to start with some W sauce. Yes, W sauce. I'm going to put this on here and rub it on as a binder. And I'm just going to rub this onto the chicken. And it's going to be a binder for the seasoning I put on there. It's also going to give it a little bit of marinating, but it's mostly going to act as a way to keep the rub on there. So, all right. And here's the rest of the breasts. You know, you can use gloves. That's the way you don't get as messy on your hands, but definitely, you know, when dealing with raw chicken, make sure you wash your hands as soon as you get done touching it. All right, this is my rub that I'm gonna use. As a base, I'm gonna use the rib rack spice rub for chicken. Then I'm gonna hit it up a little bit with some cayenne and add some smokiness with the smoked paprika. It's really, really good. There's the rib rack. Quarter teaspoon of cayenne. Half teaspoon of paprika. Let's see if we can do dry hand, wet hand. Dry hand puts the spice on. Wet hand rubs it in and flips it over. Dry hand puts the spice on. Dry hand or wet hand rubs it in. All right, the chicken looks good. I'm gonna cover these in foil and let them sit in the refrigerator until it's time to throw them on the grill. Okay, now I'm gonna make my slaw. I've already put it in the bowl, but what it is, it's a mix of the angel hair coleslaw and a regular coleslaw mix that's got the different types of cabbage and carrots in it. I'm gonna call this the Texas Food Dude slaw. I start with these. I mean, it's a lot easier to get the pre-sliced, pre-cut slaw mixes. It makes it so much easier. You can save yourself a lot of time just by doing that. And you know, not to sound like I'm cutting corners, but it's, you know, slicing up a lot of cabbage is slicing up a lot of cabbage. This is already pre-done for you. Saves you so much time. Okay, gonna take some scallions. I already took the tips off with the root and a part of the ends of the greens, but I'm gonna include all these. You know, all the greens on here. You know, after you wash them, you know, you get them ready and slice. And you're gonna add that to the slaw. Be careful, don't cut yourself. You can have a little bit rougher chop if you want. It all depends, you know, what kind of mouthfeel you're going for. But I'm gonna chop up the rest of these and I'll be right back. Before I do any kind of dressing or anything to this cabbage, I am gonna put some salt on it. I got some sea salt, and I'm gonna go ahead and salt it right now. Well, I understand this helps make it crisper. It helps draw out a little bit of the water. And this way you don't have to add that much salt to the dressing. So you wanna salt your cabbage a little bit beforehand. Okay, on the cucumber, I am using the English cucumbers. And I like the English cucumbers. They've got a pretty good flavor. Sometimes with the regular cucumbers, they can be a little hit or miss on the flavor. They could be either really nice or they could be really bitter. Also, the skin on these is really nice. And what I do a different kind of slice on this. I don't know if there's an actual name for the slice like for this. Basically, I start it like this and kind of go down the length of it. I leave the seeds in. I like the seeds. And you probably hear Finn. But I do it, it's not quite like peeling it or using a peeler on it. But I do it like that. And like that. Because it's not... Okay, to make my slaw dressing, I'm going to use 1/3 cup of grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is nice. It's neutral. It has a neutral flavor, so it doesn't really impact the flavor of it. It's, you know, if you cook with it, it's got a great high, smoke point. So it's really, really good for that. And then I'm going to use 1/3 cup of white wine vinegar. Okay, there's that. And then I'm gonna get some black pepper in there. I kind of eyeball it. You know, the initial thing would be maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. All else fails, I can add some more post. A little bit of salt. Maybe 1/8 teaspoon. Because remember, you've got salt already on the slaw mix, so you don't want to put too much on there. Okay, now I'm going to put in some light agave. And I'm going to use agave. This is probably about a tablespoon. A little bit more, just for good measure. I like agave. It's not as heavy as honey, and I like using it over sugar because it's already liquid. It will break down faster in the mixing action. Because if you try to use... And now we stir. You want to get it really, where it's really emulsified. You get a really good mixing. Everything kind of comes together. Okay, I've already added a little bit more vinegar. You always want to taste something before you actually apply it. And I thought it needed some more vinegar. I'm going to pour this in, kind of a circling motion. There we go. And toss. Until it's thoroughly mixed. And now we're going to put it in the fridge. I'm going to cover it and put it in the fridge until it's time to serve. And we got the chicken on the grill. Flame is a little high at the moment, but I'm going to cover it, so it should be fine. Okay, getting some pretty good color on them. I'm going to transfer them to an aluminum pan and keep them in the fire and pour some barbecue sauce on it and let it cook for a little bit that way. That way it can cook sauced and not char. We've already got a little bit of charring, which is what I want, but I don't want it turned black from the sugar. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've got it in the oil pan, and now I'm going to pour the barbecue sauce on it. This sauce is Franklin sauce. I added a little bit more black or brown sugar and a little bit of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of bourbon. I'm pretty sure he won't mind. I'm gonna let this sit covered for about, all right, it's been about 3 minutes. I'm gonna take a couple of drumsticks, put those on the grate. And put a chicken breast out on the grate. Let that cook for about a minute. And then I'm gonna pull everything because it should be done. Okay, This is the slaw. It's been in the fridge for a couple hours. I stirred it up a little bit. Looks really good. Now I can add the crumbled up ramen noodles now. You don't want to add it before because they'll get soggy and they won't be crisp. I can add them now, but I think tonight I'm just going to forego doing up the crumbled up ramen noodles. That gives it a little bit more crunch. All right, now I'm going to set a plate. All right, they got some char, but you know what? That's flavor. That is flavor. All right, it's got a really nice, pretty chicken breast. And I'm going to get a little bit of slaw on here. Put that right there. Always use a slotted spoon. And then get the chicken. I temped it before I got it. It temped out at 170 degrees. You know, when you cook chicken, you always want to make sure you get a minimum of 165. All right. Looks good. Smells good. Really good. Really, really good. Now I'm going to get some of that slaw. Goes great because you get the richness and the fattiness of the chicken, and you get a little bit of zing from the slaw, cuts through that. This is really, really good. My wife is going to love this. Y'all take care. Got a few new followers, and as always, thank you for being a follower. And always remember, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell everybody. And appreciate y'all following me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I really, really appreciate it. So always remember, be one of the good guys, because there's too many damn bad guys. All right? Love y'all.